All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Chris. And good afternoon, everyone. Like Chris said, my name is Josh Bendorf. I'm one of the ag climatologists at the USDA's Midwest Climate Hub, one of the contributing authors of the Wisconsin Ag Climate Outlook that comes out every week. We're not going to be able to have time today to go through everything in our latest Wisconsin Ag Climate Outlook. Would encourage you to check out that on your own time. We're just going to give you a few high-level updates here today from this past week. So in the southern part of the state, late last week and over the weekend, we had some pretty substantial rainfall that fell. And this has been in stark contrast to what we had leading up to this very wet 4-day period. So we see here this map here on the left, which is radar estimated rainfall from National Weather Service from the morning of September 19th through the morning of September 23rd. Some of those areas there that I have circled through Grant, Iowa, Dane and Columbia County, some of those areas are approaching 5 inches of rain or more that was accumulated over that 4-day period. This was over a couple rainfall events that came through, put down some very heavy rainfall in that part of the state. Some areas in and around there of like 2+ inches as well. And if we compare that 4-day rainfall total to what we received especially in the southern part of the state, to what was received over the 30 days leading up to September 19th, we see that, we went from very dry to very wet. Some of these stations here that I have highlighted on this map on the left received 2 to 3 times or more rainfall during that 4-day period, 19th through the 22nd, than they received during the prior 30 days. So some relief came in the form of some nice rainfall over the late last week and through the weekend. So looking back to the entire 7-day period, September 17th through the 24th, again, you can see those areas in southern Wisconsin that receive 3-4+ inches of rainfall from those heavy rainfall events. 2+ inches or more was common across the southern tier of counties in the state, as well as kind of in some parts of the central sands and areas east of La Crosse. But if you get further and further north and to the northeast in the state, rainfall totals drop off quite a bit, less than 2 inches, or in some cases in those areas in light green and blue, less than 1 inch accumulated over the past week. So how did soil moisture respond to this rainfall that we've gotten over the past several days? So if we look back to September 19th on Thursday at midday, before the first round of rainfall came through, we see a lot of, so these are the Wisconnet stations. This is 4-inch soil moisture represented as the percent of the soil volume that is water. So we see a lot of these stations are sitting at about 20% volumetric soil water content or less at Thursday around noon. But then as we got some of the rainfall that came Thursday into Friday and then over the weekend, we see those totals go up quite substantially, especially in the southeast part of the state, where we went from volumetric content less than 20% to, in some cases, more than 40%. So more than doubling that volumetric content of water at the 4-inch depth in our soils, thanks to those rainfall events that came. Here's another interesting way to display precip and soil moisture content at Wisconnet stations. If you go on the Wisconnet website, we do this on a weekly basis for the Wisconsin Ag Climate Outlook, download some data to show how soil moisture at different stations responds to precip that has come, put it over a longer time frame so you can see over a long term how soil's been changing. We had very wet conditions to start the summer, and things have been kind of progressively getting drier over time. And we see we've had some beneficial rainfall events that have helped to spike up that soil moisture a little bit. But overall, since the end of August, we've kind of been trending these are stations in the southwest and south central part of the state. Things have been kind of trending drier since the later part of August, but we can see that big spike that's come thanks to those rainfall events that came late last week, helping to bring some relief. This is the latest drought monitor map for Wisconsin. This came out last week, Thursday, so it's getting a little old by this point. They'll be releasing a new one tomorrow. And just a note that this map came out before we got those rains that came late last week. So it'll be interesting to see how this changes once the new map is released tomorrow. But as of last week, Thursday, parts of southern and northern Wisconsin have been added to D1 or moderate drought. Those areas were in D0 or abnormally dry before, so they've been upgraded one category, now officially in drought. And drought now covers roughly about 16% of the area of Wisconsin. But again, it'll be interesting to see how this changes tomorrow. Turning now to temperatures, going back to the end of August, things have been, for the most part, warmer than average, pretty much across the board in the state of Wisconsin. Anywhere from about 2 to 6 degrees above normal. You see the state is pretty much all in that light orange or medium orange color. So above average pretty much everywhere you go compared to 30-year averages. Temperatures for the past month range from upper 60s to lower 70s in the southern and western parts of the state, and lower to mid 60s in the northern and north central part of the state. But again, across the board, it's been warmer than average through late August and the month of September. And like Chris alluded to in her slides, this has helped with making some gains in overall crop progress, both in Wisconsin and on more of a regional level as you look to states to the south and the east. We see that Wisconsin right now, percent mature for corn and for soybeans, percent dropping leaves are running ahead of the 5-year average, quite a ways ahead of the 5-year average in the case of soybeans. And also, like Chris alluded to in her slides, we have some harvest that is underway, less than 10% complete, but nonetheless has still begun for both corn and soybeans in Wisconsin. And conditions, percent good to excellent right now for both crops is running at roughly 60 to 65% of the crop in Wisconsin. So looking ahead to the next 7 days, there's rain chances for most of Wisconsin, but these rain chances are fairly minimal. For most, the forecast is for rainfall to be less than a quarter inch on those areas there you see in lighter green. A little bit higher as you get to the very far southeast corner of the state around Milwaukee, Racine, Kenosha, with the best chances for rain in terms of timing to be late weekend and then into early next week. But again, pretty minimal. Looking a little bit further out into the first week of October, temperatures are leaning towards being above normal. So that warmer trend is looking to continue. A little bit higher likelihood in the northern part of the state versus the southern part. And then for precipitation, with the exception of the far eastern part of the state that's leaning towards near normal precipitation, the rest of the state is looking to be drier than average. So again, that warmer and drier trend that we've been seeing is kind of looking to continue as we move into the first parts of October. And then for the rest of October, really can't say anything with confidence right now because we're looking at equal chances for above, near normal, or below normal. So not really a lean in any one of those directions. So we can say with some confidence what's going to happen in early October, but for the rest of October, right now we're just kind of in a wait and see. So with that, that is a very quick update from this week's Wisconsin Ag Climate Outlook. I'll take any questions or comments at this time.